Hey, ChemStars, this is Mrs. Vanderlei bringing you the first edition of the ChemStar videos for Chapter 7. And actually, before we begin Chapter 7, we're going to talk about Chapter 2.3, which is how to factor label. If you remember back in Chapter 2, that's when we learned about significant figures and metric conversions and accuracy and precision and density, and we did a lot of math then, but we haven't done a whole lot since then. Well, we are going to change that quickly, starting with this. So factor labeling is a way to look at how to solve a problem by using the units, all right? And so we are teaching you in this section a procedure on how to do a unit conversion based on their units, okay? And so I know you might be thinking, Mrs. Vanderlei, I can convert between meters and centimeters my own way. And that's great. I'm glad you can use that as a way to check your work. However, we are going to start back and look at metrics as a way to show you a procedure that we'll be using throughout the rest of Chapter 7. All right, when you talk about things like moles and grams and moles and volume, things that you don't know yet. All right, so please use these. Think about what I'm doing as we are progressing on in this chapter. See why I am doing it. When I ask you to pause and try it yourself, that's how you're going to learn. So truly pause it, do it, and then when I come back and check your work, okay? So use these videos as an opportunity to learn how to factor label, which is our I can statement. I can use factor labeling to convert between the units, all right? So let us begin. Ready? So here we go. Conversion factors change one unit to another. So let's scroll this down. So a conversion factor is a ratio. What's a ratio? That's when you have like a numerator and a denominator. All right, so it's like a fraction, but that fraction equals 1. Okay. All right, so for example, this goes back to Chapter 2 again. If I have a meter stick, how many centimeters are in 1 meter? It's 100. Centi means 100. So what if I divide both sides by the same terms? Let me do this. Oops. So what if I divide both sides by 1 meter? So what's 1 meter divided by 1 meter? It's 1. So 1 is equal to the ratio of 100 centimeters over 1 meters. Or what if I decide to divide both sides by 100 centimeters? All right, I'm over here now. So here's my equality. I'm going to divide both sides by 100 centimeters. So now my right-hand fraction is equal to 1. So 1 meter divided by 100 centimeters is equal to 1. And what is the difference between, let's say, this term and this term? They're both equal to 1. That's not a difference. It's where you put your unit. On the first term, I have centimeters in the numerator, that's on top, and meters in the denominator, that's in the bottom. And here I have meters in the numerator and centimeters in the denominator, all right? Keep that in mind, all right? Both terms, both ratios equal 1, okay? Let's keep going then. So this is how you actually do this. This is important. Star this, circle this, all right? Do what you need to do. This is how you do factor labeling. So you always start off with question mark unknown. Now, that's the way I do it. Other teachers may have a different method, but I prefer this actually. I've seen the other ways because it focuses on what you're looking at, what you're looking for, I should say. And that tells you when you are done, okay? So that's why I do it. Is equal to, well, what unit did I give you? Write that down and then times by the conversion factor. This is a conversion factor and this is a conversion factor. All right, please, may I just say this? Don't be lazy and write down all your units. All right, otherwise you won't know what you're doing. I'll say it again. Don't be lazy. Write down all your units so you know what you're doing, okay? So here we go. Ready? The conversion factor, this term right here, will have in the denominator, that's in the bottom, the units of the given. Why? So they factor or they cancel each other out. There are many cases where you need more than one conversion factor, so you can keep going until it works out where your top numerator is what you're looking for. If you know the direct relationship between the given and the unknown, then only one step is needed. So how do we do this? Ready? Well, let's see. All right, so this is my question mark unknown. So what I'm looking for, how many seconds? That's my question mark unknown. What do I know? What's my given? I gave you 8 minutes. All right, now what? I would always draw that next, okay? Draw your times in a line. That's gonna be your ratio. That's gonna be your fraction. All right, now look at here. The conversion factor will have in the denominator, that's the bottom, the units of the given. Well, what is my units here? It's minutes. So I'm going to put minutes down here. Everyone, after a little bit of practice, should always be able to get this far. What am I looking for? What am I given? And here's the units of my given. All right, so what is it that I want? I want seconds. So do I know a relationship between seconds and minutes? I'm hoping you say yes. There are 60 seconds in 1 minute. Would you agree with that? I'll say it again. 60 seconds, Ray, listen, equals 1 minute. So when you have a conversion factor, your numerator should equal the denominator. All right? Therefore, this whole unit, this whole fraction is really equal to 1. So now what happens? All right, I'm going to cancel some stuff out. Let me use red. So 8 minutes, or minutes, excuse me, cancels out minutes. So the only unit is left is seconds. Well, isn't that what I want? And the answer is yes, that is what I want. So now get out your calculator and you're going to take 8 minutes, or 8, excuse me, the minutes have canceled out. So 8 times 60. Well, what is 8 times 60? I hope you got 480. And notice my seconds is the only unit left, and so I write down 480 seconds. Now we should talk about sig figs, but the problem is when you have 8 written out as EIGHT, I have no idea how many sig figs there are, so I'm just going to leave it as 480. That's probably the only problem. We have no idea how many sig figs you have, all right? So let's look at the next example. All right, so how many hours are in 34,934 seconds? All right, I don't know why anyone wants to know that, but what the heck, we can do this, all right? So how do we begin? Well, let's scroll up. What do I write down first? Question mark unknown. What is it that I'm looking for? How many hours, all right? So I'm gonna write question mark hours equals, what's next? Right here, what's my given? What number with its unit did I give you? I gave you 34,934 seconds. Now what? I need a conversion factor. So I need a ratio. That is my conversion factor. It is a ratio. Okay? So now what? The conversion factor will have in the denominator, that's in the bottom, the units of the given. Well, what units are in my given? Seconds. Put 60 seconds down here and 1 minute up here. Okay, how did I know that? Well, it's the same thing I did up here. Aren't these two equal? 60 seconds equals 1 minute. Now let's see what happens. Let me use my red again, and I'm going to cancel out seconds. What unit is on top? It's minutes. Look over here. Is that what I want? Nope. I got to keep going. All right, there are many cases where you need more than one conversion factor, and this is one of them. So I'm going to keep going. So what unit goes on the bottom? Well, what unit is still up here? I don't want minutes, I want hours. So I need to get rid of minutes. So minutes goes on the bottom. All right, right? So I can cancel those guys out. Let me use, I don't know, green. All right, so minutes cancels out. Well, what do I want? I want minutes to go to hours. Is that unit what I want? Yes, it is. All right, I do want hours. All right, that's what I have over here. So yes, once I hit the unit I'm looking for, I'm done. All right, seconds cancels out, minutes cancels out, so now I have my hours, okay? Now, what do I do here? Get out your calculator. I mean it. What is 34,934? Where's my 60? It's in the ready denominator. Oh, did you hear that? Where is my 60 seconds? It's in the denominator. Well, why am I saying it that way? Because what do I do? If it's in the denominator, I'm going to divide. Did y'all catch that? If the number's in the denominator, you will divide. So what is, ready? 34,934 divided by 60. I'm not done yet. Well, where's this 60? It's also in the denominator. So what else am I going to do again? I'm going to divide. So take your answer here, hit your divided by button, and divide by 60 again. And what do you get? I got this. Okay. So now what? How many sig figs are in my given? And only look at my given. I have 5 sig figs. So I need to have 5 sig figs here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Do I need to round up? Yes, I do. So there's my final answer. I have 5 sig figs, and that's 9.7039 hours. Okay. Let's try it again. We keep practicing, don't we? Oops. Let's practice again. So I am 167 centimeters tall. How many inches am I? All right. Well, let's see what we do here. Scroll down a little bit more. There we go. Well, what is the first thing? Look on the very top. What is my unknown? What am I looking for? How many inches? Okay. What's my given? 167 centimeters. Okay. Now what? I need a conversion factor. Well, it's a fraction, isn't it? It's a ratio that equals 1. What units must go on the bottom? It's the units of my given. So I'm going to put centimeters on the bottom. And it says right here, 1 inch equals 2.54 centimeters. So I'm going to put inches on top. So look what I've just accomplished. All right, centimeters cancels out. I'm left with inches. Is that what unit I want? Yes, it is. I'm done. I've set it up. So now what I do is I take 167. Uh-oh, this is in the what? The denominator? Yes, it is. So I'm going to take 167 and divide by 2.54. And what do I get? This. Mrs. Vanderwall, that's overkill. You don't need to have to put your entire calculator in this answer. You're right. So I have 1, 2, 3 sig figs. So I need 1, 2, 3 sig figs. So I get 65.7 inches tall. And you know what? That's really how tall I am. Okay, so that is my height. Very good. Strange, I made up the question. So there you go. Let's go to the next page, shall we? All right, I'll give you a few seconds to fill in that. All right, so go ahead and fill in those boxes. All right, hopefully you got that. So now it's conversion between units using... All right, so now we're doing conversion between units using dimensional analysis. So this is how you can convert between the metrics, okay? I know we have already done this, okay? We did it by moving the decimal points. Remember doing something like this? 1, 2, 3. Remember doing it that way? You can still check your work, all right? But I don't recommend you doing it for here, all right? But we can check our work to make sure our dimensional analysis, our factor labeling, works, okay? So here we go. If a base unit is either given or is the unknown, then it's a one-step problem. I only need one conversion factor. But if a base unit like grams or liters or meters is not in the problem, it's not either my given or my unknown, then it's going to be a multiple stepper, usually a two-stepper. And it says this, always go to the base unit and the first conversion factor. And remember, we said this earlier, back in chapter 2, the smaller unit will always get the bigger number. So I put these numbers in here, and please listen carefully why I put these numbers here, right? There's 1,000 you want to go with grams in 1 gram. There's 100 centigrams in 1 gram. There's 10 decigrams in 1 gram. Now listen carefully. There are 10 grams in 1 decagram. There's 100 grams in 1 hectogram. There's 1,000 grams in 1 kilogram. All right. I wrote this down this way to avoid using decimals. All right. I personally would much rather use a whole number than a decimal number. So that's why I did it that way. Okay. And there's a couple other conversions. 1 inch is 2.54 centimeters and 1 pound is 454 grams. All right. So let's look at the first problem. So it says, how many grams are in 397 kilograms? Well, let's kind of look back up here again. What does it say? If the base unit is either given or an unknown, then it is a one-stepper. So the question is grams or kilograms a base unit? The answer is grams is. So this is going to be a one-stepper. So are you ready? How do we do this? Question mark, well, what am I looking for? How many what? How many grams? So question mark, grams. What's my given? 397 kilograms. Now I need a conversion factor. Well, here it is. What unit must go on the bottom? Kilograms. Well, what am I looking for? The base unit, grams. This is an important question. Are you ready? My question is this. Which is bigger, a kilogram or a gram? What's bigger? What weighs more? Kilogram. So the bigger quantity gets the 1. All right, so the question mark now is, how many grams are in a kilogram? Well, what do I have here? I have 1,000. So there are 1,000 grams in a kilogram. So what can I do? Kilograms cancels out. Okay, so now I'm going to get out my calculator. I'm going to take 397 times 1,000. And what does your calculator give you? This. So how many sig figs are in 397? 3. How many are here? 3. We're done. Let's try the next one. All right, so what am I looking for? I'm looking for hectoliters. So here it is. What am I given? Milliliters. So here it is. Let me ask you this. Is hectoliters or milliliters the base unit? And the answer is no. So it's probably going to be a two-stepper, all right? So let me at least get that going. It's going to be a two-stepper, okay? Because the base unit, liters, is not part of my problem. So what unit has to go on the bottom to start with? Milliliters, all right? Well, what does it say to do up here? Always go to the base unit in the first conversion factor. So I need to go from milliliters to liters. Well, which is bigger, a milliliter or a liter? A liter is bigger, isn't it? So I need to put 1,000 milliliters on the bottom. Why is it on the bottom? So my units cancel out. And my larger quantity, a liter, goes on top. So once again, the smaller unit, milliliter, gets 1,000. The liter gets the 1. Okay, so my larger quantity gets the 1. But wait a minute, am I done? The answer is no. Milliliters canceled out, and I'm left with liters. Is liters what I want? Nope, I want hectoliters. So I have to keep going. Liters has to go on the bottom. All right, so which is bigger, a hectoliter or a liter? Which is bigger? The one on the left. Hecto is bigger, so it's going to get the 1. So how many liters are on a hectoliter? There's 100. Hecto is 100 liters. And so now what goes on is my 1 hectoliter. So remember, my larger quantity gets the 1. A hectoliter is bigger than a liter. All right, so what can I do now? My liters cancels out. What unit am I left with? Hectoliters on top. Hectoliters are what I want. So I'm ready to get my calculator. So what is 0.83 divided by 1,000? Go ahead and do that. Divided by 100. There's one answer, or here's another answer. Both answers are perfectly acceptable. I don't know which one your calculator gave you. I have 2 sig figs. I have 2 sig figs. Okay, let's try the next one. All right, my cat, actually I have two cats, and they're really cute, by the way, is 35 centimeters long. How many feet is he? This is Vindaloo. My cat has 4 feet. I don't know how many feet your cat has. Ha ha ha. That's supposed to be funny, okay? So anyway, now how many feet long is he? All right, not including the tail, by the way. It's from like the where the tail begins, to basically where the head begins. All right, so that's how many feet I'm looking at. So what am I given? Well, what am I looking for? I'm looking for feet, and I'm given 35 centimeters. Okay, so here's my next part. What unit must go on the bottom? Centimeters. Now, am I going to go to centimeters to meters? Do I know a relationship directly, first of all, between centimeters and feet? No, I don't. Not off the top of my head. So I know it's at least two of these things. If I don't know a direct relationship between centimeters and feet, I can't do it in one step. All right, so I have centimeters. Do I want to go from centimeters to meters? Do I know anything about meters and feet? The answer is no. But what else do I know about centimeters? I also know that 1 inch is 2.54 centimeters. So can I go to inches? Would that help me? The answer is, well, yes. So I'm going to put the 2.54 centimeters on the bottom, 1 inch is on the top, and I'm going to cancel out my units. Here's my red, so here's centimeters, and here's centimeters. And what unit is left? Inches. Is that what I'm looking for? The answer is no, so I have to keep going. All right, so I need to put inches on the bottom, and what's going to go on the top? Well, I'm looking for feet. Well, what's the relationship between inches and feet? I have 12 inches is equal to 1 foot. All right, so how does that help me? Does it? Let's check it out. Inches cancels out. What unit am I left with? Feet. Oh, that's what I'm looking for. Okay, so I think I'm ready to calculate. Ready? Here we go. What is 35 divided by 2.54 equals, hit your equal button, divided by 12. What do you get? Well, this is what I got. Well, that is an awful lot of digits. So how many sig figs are right here? 2. So I need 2 sig figs. Go 1, 2. Do I round up? Nope, that's a 4, not a 5. So it's 1.1 feet long. Yep, that's my boy. All right, I tell you what, why don't you number 4 on your own and see how you do. So pause this, I mean it. If you don't have a calculator on you, at least set it up correctly and then see what I get. All right, so pause this, I mean it. Okay, hopefully you're back now. Welcome back. So this is what I got. So question mark inches, which is what I'm looking for. I have 34 centimeters. There it is. I put centimeters on the bottom and inches on top. All right, that makes sense. All right, because I can cancel out my centimeters now, right? So here's my centimeters. Oops, back here. Nope, nope, nope. Stop, stop, stop. All right, try it one more time. Here we go. So here's my centimeters and here's my centimeters. What unit is left? Inches. What am I looking for? Inches. Hey, I just have to divide now. That's what my calculator gave me. And so here is my final answer with 2 sig figs, 13 inches. Okay. Well, look at the next one. How many centimeters are there in 23.94 feet? Well, think about this before you go. Do you think it's a one-stepper? Do you know the relationship between centimeters and feet? I don't. It's not going to be a one-stepper. It's going to be at least a two-stepper. So pause this and try this on your own. I mean it. Pause this. Okay, how'd you do? Well, this is what I came up with. Question mark centimeters. That's my unknown. Here's my known. I put, well, feet and foot. I hope you understand. Foot on the bottom and inches on top. That's the only thing. I guess I could have gone to yards, but yards wouldn't help me get in centimeters. I want the inches. Then I put inches on the bottom because I need to get rid of it, and I put centimeters on top because that's what I want. So again, notice that feet canceled, then notice that inches canceled, and what unit is left is centimeters, and that's what I do want. So now I'm ready to calculate. So I got my calculator and I multiplied. If they're on the top, you times. If it's in the denominator, you divide. But they're on the top, so I'm going to multiply. So 23.94 times 12 times 2.54 equals 729.6912. So how many sig figs do I have here? 4. So I need 4 sig figs here. 1, 2, 3, 4. I need to round that 9 because of this, the 6 up to a 7 because of the 9. So here's my answer. All right, let's try the next ones. How many pounds, okay, are in so many grams? All right, so if I have grams, do I know a direct relationship between pounds? Well, yeah, here it is. Here's your relationship. I gave it to you. So it's a one-stepper. Okay, so go ahead and do this one. Pause, do it, set it up. Okay, let's try this. So how many pounds are there in 0.87 grams? So I have 0.87 grams. I put 454 on the bottom, 1 pound on the top. So if it's in the denominator, I'm going to divide. So 0.87 divided by 454 gives me this. I have 2 sig figs, so the zeros don't count. The 1 and the 9 do, and I don't round up. So I have 0.0019 pounds. And like I said, folks, I sure hope you are writing all this stuff out. I please asked you earlier, don't be lazy. I asked you to write out all your units. Don't go sloppy on me. Don't go chintzy on me. Write it out how I've written it out, and I mean it, okay? It's going to save you a lot of grief and me a lot of grief down the road, okay? So I think this is our last one. So why don't you do it correctly for me if you haven't been doing so already? Set it up the way I have been setting it up. Write down all your units. I mean it. Do it. Okay, so I have how many kilograms? My unknown. I have 222.22 pounds. That is not how much I weigh, by the way. And then what? Pounds go on the bottom? Well, the only thing I know, look up above, is grams. I don't know anything else. I don't know about kilograms. So I had to go to grams. Okay, so if I were to do that, I'll cancel out my pounds, all right, and here's my grams, but guess what? Is grams what I'm looking for? The answer is no, I gotta keep going. So I'm gonna put grams in the bottom and kilograms on top. Why is it 1 kilogram? Well, what's bigger, a kilogram or a gram? A kilogram's bigger, so it gets the 1. Kilo means 1,000, so it's 1,000 grams in 1 gram. So I took 222.22 pounds times 454 divided by 1,000. So this is what I get. I need 5 sig figs because I have 5 sig figs here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I had to round up to 100.89 kilograms. And I'm going to stop here and we will practice more later. So don't wait to be great. See you next time. Bye-bye.